Oh, come on. Come on, you piece of junk. Come on, start, not again. Oh, let's see if the radio still works. Yeah, well, yeah, there's, well. Oh, that show Motor Mouse is on.
And good morning and welcome to your Motor Mouth Show, your SLO County Car Talk show featuring Mr. Stop and Mr. Go. This is Jeff Spevack, Continental Motor Works, known for the next hour as Mr. Go. Sitting next to me, Mr. Stop, Per Matheson. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Jeff.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Fantastic!
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's cold weather, see, that sort of is good for me.
How do you say fantastic in Norwegian?
Fantastic.
Okay.
That's the reason I used the word.
I wouldn't
it's
have known.
Easy to translate, see?
So I left early today. I drove to the show today, which is unusual. And
By other words, the car's slower than the bike?
Yes, it is, actually. And I left early. I drove the speed limit. I stopped at each stop sign and counted to 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. And I just enjoyed the ride. And you know, it's in this bustling life, many of us are always in a hurry. And one of the things we always say on the show is the safest thing you can do is to leave early. The safest way you can drive, the number one safety tip. So I was just saying I did that this morning and I enjoyed it. So I'm going to put that in all of your heads out there to leave early. Leave early. Change a habit. Leave early. Enjoy the ride. Drive safer. Jim was talking a little bit about having a unusual experience this week.
Yeah, like a courteous driver. Actually, I was coming in on Thursday to do some work here at the station, and out on 227, and I got behind a box truck, and actually it was a Goodwill box truck. So we go plug for Goodwill there too. And they pulled over and let like 5 cars pass.
Must have been an Eastern driver.
Yeah,
An Eastern driver?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, back east, you know, that's what you're trained to do, to pull over.
Yeah, they actually pulled over, let the cars pass.
Nice.
Just, you know,
yeah,
because we're all built up behind him. And they're
I guess they weren't in a hurry either.
Yeah, it was just courtesy.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. So a little plug for Goodwill because they do a lot of Goodwill.
Good job, yeah. Goodwill, yes.
And also the driver that actually was courteous to the other drivers on the road.
You know, you can still donate your cars to Goodwill, by the way. Those of you that have a car that, maybe isn't worth anything or it's sitting around and you want to get a tax write-off on it, you can donate it to a worthy cause, which there's a number of them, but Goodwill is certainly one of them. So encourage you to do that. So we are a live call-in car talk show. We're the Motor Mouse. We're here till 9 a.m. And the way that works is you call us. We're going to give you our number. It's 543-8830. That's 543-8830. And this show's so much more interesting when you're a part of it and when you call us. So we invite you to call us if you have anything relating to your car question, car story. You got a problem with your car, maybe a warning light or a funny noise or a relationship issue that you can relate to your car, then we'll put you on the Motor Mouth couch. So, or a pet peeve. You know, we like to talk about your pet peeves out on the road. So give us a call, 543-8830. The phone lines are open, and we're here till 9 a.m. Didn't have anybody there?
Yeah, it was just
all right, if you just called and you got cut off, then call us back, 543-8830. So Matt and I were going to talk a little bit about how we got started. Back in 1993, Matt had already done quite a bit of radio.
Well, the way that started was I had my shop up on Monterey Street. Across the street was a radio station, Mac the Scotch Hillbilly. And he had a show on Saturdays and Sunday morning where he played hillbilly music and advertised. Mm-hmm. And he was very, he had good listening, lots of people listening, and he had hard to get in on his program.
You think this was the 70s?
That was the 60s.
The 60s, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
let's go to our caller.
Yeah, let him go to the caller.
This is going to probably carry over for a while. Hey, let's talk to Matt from Avila Beach. Good morning, Matt. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, gentlemen. Been trying to get a hold of you guys for weeks, but Saturday mornings are awfully busy.
Well, we're glad you called. Thank you.
I have a 2016 Mercedes-Benz diesel Sprinter with a motorhome on it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I go to change the oil that's recommended is a special emission diesel oil.
Mm-hmm.
And it runs about $11 a quart for the synthetic. I guess my question is there a cheaper way to go?
Do you have to? Do I have to?
Well, pay now or pay later.
Well, while you're under warranty, okay, yeah. I'm assuming that this car has at least a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on the engine, maybe even 5 years. You might want to
5 years, 60. Yeah.
5 years, 60. Okay. So while you're in that first 5 years or 60,000 miles, I do recommend that you use what the factory recommends. Now, it doesn't maybe have to be a certain brand. Maybe it could be another brand. Maybe it could be a synthetic blend.
Yeah,
instead of just
it's really hard
synthetic.
to find with that extra 3-letter. I forget what it is now, but it's a special diesel emission, and I could only also find it by the quart. I had to order it out of back east just to get it.
I'm assuming you're changing your own oil.
Yeah, and it's easy on this car, and the filter's on the top, so I can change the filter without
that's
draining
nice.
any. And that works out really well.
So you could do a little research, do an internet search and see if anybody else has come up with a different oil. So what oil are you using? Where are you getting it?
It's the Mobile One synthetic, but it's with that special 3-letter ESP or something on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very difficult to find.
And is that what Mercedes is using also at the dealership?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You may not have a choice, but you can do a little search, and here's what you might do. Call San Luis Auto Parts.
Okay.
That'd be 543-7287. And ask them, give them the spec on it, and ask them if they have a recommendation, maybe a different, a Valvoline or a Haviland or another oil that might be possible.
Okay.
I could do a little research for you on Monday if you call me at the shop at 541-1464. I have some German oils available to me. One of them is called Motul, M-O-T-U-L. And I may be able to get that directly from one of my suppliers, WorldPack.
Okay.
And I don't really know what the cost of that is without looking it up and see if I can get that spec for it. But I think it's very possible I might be able to get you a different oil. Now, how much money it's going to save, I don't know until we talk about it. But do an internet search, call a parts store, call me on Monday. Anybody else out there have the same issue?
Well, let me pipe in on this one.
Yeah, pipe in, Matt, would you?
Okay. All right. My son-in-law had a diesel engine Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
And at 100,000 miles, he took it in for service. And he found out that the rear main was leaking.
Mm.
And he found out that it was the oil, the type of oil that he was using was not doing the lubrication of the rear main.
It's crazy.
And so, as far as I'm concerned, if I have a diesel, I would use absolutely what they recommend and so forth.
Yeah.
And I mean, it depends on how long you want to keep the car. I mean, if you're going to take and only drive it to 30,000 or 50,000 miles and get rid of it, then you can say, well, you can use whatever oil you want.
Matt, how often are you changing the oil?
Well, that was going to be my next question. So I have this one motorhome, and then I have 3 high-mileage cars that don't probably average about 6,000 to 9,000 miles a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I change them all with synthetic every May.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that an okay thing to do if they're not getting more than 8,000 or 9,000 miles a year on them?
8,000 or 9,000 miles is a lot of miles.
Yeah, I like to see. Like to see cars get serviced every 6 months. But I do understand if you're putting like 5,000 miles a year on it, then I could see doing it once a year. But what I like to see get done every 6 months is not only the engine oil but everything else on the car. So
all the fluids checked. And
well, you've got tires, you've got tire pressures, you've got battery to check and cables to check and fluids and lights. Do you have a headlight out? Do you have a tail light out? Do you have the beginning of a leak happening, like a coolant leak or an oil leak or, something dripping into the car? Anything that you could do preventative maintenance that would save you a whole lot of money later, or save you from having the car overheat, or save you from having the car leak oil or have oil starvation because it's been using oil and maybe you haven't checked the oil in a year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that I really like the every 6 months complete car inspection.
Well, the thing is that if you only use a car 5,000-6,000 miles a year, you are probably using a lot of short trips. That is hard on the engine, hard on the oil, because it doesn't get hot enough to evaporate whatever is in the engine that is harmful to the engine.
Yeah, so make sure you're not doing a lot of really short trips.
Yeah, short trip. I mean, you need to, in that case, go away from being used in synthetic. You used to go to regular motor oil, change every 3,000.
Okay.
So on your Sprinter, I think they recommend that you only have to do it every 10,000.
Right.
But I don't like every 10,000.
No, I don't.
I just, they're seeing what we're seeing now with Porsche as an example, Volkswagen as an example, quite a few other vehicles, is they're getting a lot of deposits on the valves and in the intake manifold, in the intake chambers, because of lack of oil changes. So we're recommending, and so they're going back to more often oil changes. So I still like 6 months, 5,000 miles. You're doing it yourself. It's not costing you that much money. I just think it's smart.
Okay. Great. Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it. And I always like to listen to you.
Thank you for the call.
Keep listening, Matt. Maybe somebody else has an idea on your oil. Otherwise, let me know if you find out an alternative. Give us a call and let us know, or call me on Monday. By the way, you were the first caller, so you do win a premium. Stop by Continental Motor Works and we'll fix you up.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Have a good weekend, Matt. Thank you. All right, Matt in Avila Beach, really interesting questions, and we invite you to call us. Phone lines are open for the Motor Mouse, 543-8830. That's 543-8830. We're talking about really whatever you want to talk about regarding cars. We've got a lot of topics. Matt and I could talk. We could talk for the next 25 years. We've been talking for 25 years, but we find that it's more fun to talk with you. So give us a call, 543-8830.
Time for a break.
Okay, we're going to our first break. We're the Motor Mouse.
Break. Okay.
We'll see. We'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you.
And I got a classic commercial here for. Do you remember Put a Tiger in Your Tank?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got a classic commercial here for Esso. And to put in Tiger.
Standard oil.
Yeah, there you go.
But don't put the sugar frosted flakes in your tank.
No.
Yeah.
no. Pretty much it's Tony the Tiger here in this commercial, too. So, you don't want to do that. But anyway, American Esso commercial.
Oh, this is Rex Marshall speaking for Humble. Some people have been coming into our Esso stations expecting to see a real live tiger. Well, of course, we can't guarantee that. But we can promise to put a tiger in your tank with our new high-energy Esso Extra gasoline. You see, this great new premium motor fuel from Humble is blended to give you octane power, firing power, and cleaning power. Octane power for fast getaway. Firing power for smooth performance. Cleaning power to protect your engine, to clean the carburetor while you drive. So when you stop in at your Esso station, don't expect to see a real live tiger. But do expect a 3-way power boost from new high-energy Esso Extra gasoline. Stop in and put a tiger in your tank. Happy motoring.
When it's time to service your car,
Or a warning light is starting to glow.
go see the pros at Absolute Auto.
At the corner of Sacramento and Capitolio.
Having a problem with the brakes or the steering down below?
Or an alignment to adjust the tow.
Computer systems, they do know.
Call 543-8737 to reach Absolute Auto.
Here's some inside information to get your gas mileage back. Inside your engine, carbon builds up, clogging the injectors and combustion area. If you want your fuel system cleaned in just one tank of fuel, use what the inside car guys use most. It's called BG44K. In fact, service managers use it almost 3 to 1 over any other fuel system cleaner. To find a shop with BG products, go to bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com.
BG.
Hi, this is Jeff Spevack, Motormouth co-host and owner of Continental Motorworks. What can you expect here at Continental? We will treat you and your car with care and respect and gratitude. We will bend over backwards to earn your trust. You will fully understand what we are doing on your car and know how much it will cost before we do the work. You will always get value, a fair exchange. You work hard for your money. We believe we should work smarter and harder for what you pay us for. Now in our 36th year, we fix it all. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and hybrids.
Call Jeff at Continental Motorworks at 541-1464. Mention this ad and receive 10% off labor.
Hey, little Cobra, don't you know you're gonna shut up down? I took my Cobra down to the track, hitched to the back of my Cadillac. Everyone was there just to wait for me. There were plenty of Stingrays and XKs.
We're back for the Motormouth man, Jeff. We are here for the next 38 minutes.
Well, let me continue then. So
Okay.
we started out listening to Mac the Scotch Hillbilly, and I finally, after waiting half a year, I could be able to get on this program, and I was open on Saturday morning till noon, and so he would call me about 10 minutes after 8 or quarter after 8 and so forth. He said, "Hello, Matt, and how are you today?" and so forth, and what's going on, and I start talking, and then he said, "Thank you," bang, he hanged up on me. I mean, I was in the middle of a sentence or something like that. My time was up. So then customers are coming in and say, how come you let him hang up on you like that? And I said, oh boy, I getting feedback.
You knew people were listening.
I knew people was listening.
Yeah.
And that's how it was. Then in the JCs, I was in the JCs, we took over a radio station, KVEC radio, and it took off for a day, and we sold advertising, and we talked on the radio. Well, so that I got involved in talking on the radio. And so I knew that the radio works had to be different. It had to be a little bit different in order for people. You cannot have the same announcer talking the same 15 different advertising and expect people to listen. But to measure this guy in the shop by having the radio on, and I would ask my technicians, what station did he hear today, or what did he hear on the radio today? Well, they didn't hear a darn thing, So, but except if there was something that was interesting or funny or something like that. So I tried to advertise that way, and I knew it worked, and I figured that if we could get on the air and advertise on the air and have a show that was interesting to a point, then people would listen to it.
And had you done your own show before this one?
Well, outside of... no, I done my own advertising. I mean, I wrote my own ads and talked the ads in.
Yeah.
Done that kind of work.
So I was interested. I was really liked the national Car Talk radio show, which is on public radio, and I thought we should do a local show. And so the guy from KVEC was in talking to me about doing some advertising. I said, "Hey, have you?" This was 1993. I said, "Have you thought about doing a local, talk show?" And he said, "Well, just so happens that Matt from Matt's Breaking Alignment is going to start a show on the air this coming Saturday." And Matt and I were in automotive service councils together, and I knew Matt, and I called him and I said, "You want a partner?" And he said, "Sure." Yeah. So that's how we started. We just went on,
and this has been working real good.
So that's 25 years ago.
Two different kind of businesses Mine was a specialty shop,
Yep.
brakes and alignment, and you were doing engines and transmissions and all these other things. So, we have been splitting up the questions that are coming on the air to where somebody had the most experience. And
Mr. Stop and Mr. Go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's right. So,
anyhow,
it's been a lot of fun.
It has worked fantastically well.
Has the show open been with you the entire time?
Say that again.
The show open, where we go through the
well,
guys starting the car, and because that's really part of the show too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they designed that right at the beginning. Yeah. When it was so KVEC was in an old house on Choro Street. And that's where we used to go. We used to go park in the back and go in the back of the house, and had a great studio in there. And I know Congleton was on, since I think he's been doing it almost exactly maybe 1 year longer than us. But,
I think you've been about the same time.
And it's been fun. Obviously, we enjoy it because we're still doing it, and we're still talking about the same stuff. That's what's funny is 25 years later, cars still. It's still the basics that are the things that to talk about, and the things that are still issues on cars, like batteries and tires and noises and brakes and leaks, and it still goes back to the basics. Yeah. We did batteries, like 3 different batteries, actually 4 different batteries on cars this week that were all causing problems. And some of them were performance problems. It wasn't necessarily what you'd think of as a typical battery problem. We had a car that was running poorly because the battery wasn't getting enough voltage to the throttle.
No.
Was it an electric car?
No, regular car, and was just hesitating and bucking, and it had a code for the throttle, but it wasn't the throttle. It was the voltage to the throttle, and the battery failed. It was a little tricky, but still, you got to go back to the basics. That's why we kind of say replace the battery every 5 years. I think it's probably a good rule of thumb on most of these cars, because the battery, everything has such a big load off of the battery.
Well, you might have had problems this morning when you start the car. It was 30 degrees at my place this morning.
It does make a difference.
Yeah,
this is the time of year when it's cold. Batteries are going to fail either in extreme temperatures, whether it be, maybe this isn't extreme to an Ohio boy like me, but it is to San Luis Obispo people.
we need calls. You want to give out the number again?
Yeah, 543-8830. We're the Motor Mouse. We're Matt and Jeff. We're here till 9 a.m. We've had Matt call from Avila Beach, and love to get the ball rolling here, so please call us, 543-8830. Anything relating to cars that you'd like to talk about, or if you have a pet peeve about other drivers on the road, got a funny noise, or a car story, or something you like to share with other people. Maybe you've gotten your bumper sticker off with some peanut butter, something like that. They don't
have bumpers anymore.
Those are a rare commodity.
They don't have bumpers.
The cars doesn't have. There's plastic shields
That's right.
that hangs up on the curb every time you diagonally park.
Yeah.
And the curbs are so high that it tears the plastic off the front of the car. I mean, good. Now, last Saturday we talked about how to buy a used car, or talk about that. But we had no women call. Mm-hmm. I think that, and half the population are women, or better, mm-hmm. and they also buy cars. So I would like to have somebody.
Okay, we invite the women to call in
and say what kind of service they got, and what their experiences had been in buying a car.
Mm-hmm. 543-8830. Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things we talk a little bit. I'll come off of that subject a little bit about buying a car, and so a lot of people when they go to buy a car at a dealership, they figure the easiest thing to do is to trade in their old car, and there's a call coming in, I think. So be careful there, because even though it's the easiest thing to do, it's also the way that you're going to get the least amount of money for your car. So investigate and study how much your car is worth. So you can look it up on Craigslist. You can look on a few other sites like CarMax, see how much your car would sell for. Now, you can't expect if you're going to trade it in to get retail value, but you can negotiate that. So, the other option is to sell it yourself or to consign it to a place like McCarthy's. And it might be worth a couple $1,000s to you to do a little bit of your own studying there and figure out how much your car's worth. So before you trade it in, do a little research. Let's talk to Ken from Morro Bay. Hi, Ken. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
My question is, I bought a 2015 Honda CRV new. It's still a 30,000-mile service. One dealer tells me what's required is between $1,100 and $1,200. Another dealer says what's required for warranty is between $700 and $800. The trusted mechanic says it's nothing but a glorified oil change. Your thoughts?
Well, let's find out what those. So I always tell people, when you get an estimate, get a printout of what they're going to do. So a detailed printout. So in other words, at 30,000 miles, does it include change the oil and filter, rotate the tires? Does it include changing any of the fluids? Are they going to change the coolant or the trans fluid or the brake fluid or the power steering fluid? Are they going to replace the engine air filter and the cabin air filter? So these are things that you want to get a printout of all the details of the service and what it includes, and then you can compare apples to apples. I'm sorry, I don't have a maintenance chart in front of me, but if you call me at Continental Motor Works on Monday at 541-1464, I'll print that up. But my hunch is that all that's required on your CRV is going to be change the oil and filter, rotate the tires, do the 40-point safety inspection, service and test the battery, check all the lights, change the engine air filter and the cabin air filter, and perhaps the brake fluid. They may recommend the brake fluid at that interval.
How many miles on this car?
30,000.
Well, 30. I didn't hear that.
So I think, and if there is a rear differential, they may talk about that. But that's going to be, at our shop, it's probably a $300 to $500 service, depending if we're going to do brake fluid or differential fluid.
I change oil every 5,000. Oil filter, I've changed the cabin filters once since I've had it. And they recommend brake fluid change. They recommend transmission fluid change. And these are things that I don't think, looking at the fluids, needed for 40.
And I also don't think it's required by Honda. Let's start there. Let's start and see what's required to protect your warranty. So that's the question that you ask. And if people are throwing these kind of estimates at you without explaining it to you, then I wouldn't be going there. You want to go to some place that speaks English.
Where is your shop located? Are you in Slow?
We're at 1101 Laurel Lane. You can Continental Motor Works can take care of you. Absolute Auto can take care of you. There's a lot of great independent shops, and I don't want to put down the dealer or anything, but you need to, when somebody gives you an estimate, they should give you a printed estimate and tell you should know going out of that conversation exactly what you're going to get for that money. And if you don't know, then somebody didn't do their job.
So let me ask you, because I'm driving and I can't write anything down. Is your shop in San Luis?
Correct.
And it's called Continental Motors?
Correct. Continental Motor Works.
I'll call you first of the week. I've got 1 million miles on Honda engines.
Yeah.
And this is the first car. They're all on Gold Wings and motorcycles. So it's a little bit different from the dealer I had in North Carolina, who was straight, good, honest, good friend, and I never got the conflicting messages.
Yeah, so I think your question is a good one, and I'm glad you're going away, with all of these questions, because a lot of people say just do it. And I think that you need, and then they go away thinking, what did I just pay for? And I think you want to know what are you going to pay for in the first place? That should be explained to you exactly what's going to be done, and you want to know what is required by Honda to protect your warranty. Number one, and then number two, you want to know what is going to be the right thing to protect my car. So those are the kind of questions that we will answer for you.
Well, it was interesting. I went by a dealership last week, and I was told that I had to let the dash when it gives you the percentage of oil. The guy said, well, that's not the percentage of oil in the motor now. And I kind of chuckled. He said, but let it get down to 15%, and then the car will self-diagnose what you have to do, and will give you code letters. And I'm like, I'm not running the oil until it's down to 15% of light.
Yep.
I changed it every 5,000, which, according to the percentage here, is 50% or higher.
Yep, and I agree with you 100%. I don't like those. I don't trust the computer's analysis of that. I just go a simple, old school, 5,000 miles or every 6 months. I think that's the right way to take care of your car.
Well, that's what a trusted mechanic in Santa Cruz told me. We live down here now, but that's what he told me was glorified oil change. And that's basically what you're saying. Check your fluids, check your filters.
Yeah, I mean, there are other things to it, but you want to know what is required and what is optional, and that should be explained to you in simple English. So, Ken, thank you for your call, and
all right, thank you very much.
And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again for calling.
All right, talk to you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ken. All right, well, Ken brings up a really good topic. I had a customer really pissed me off. I had a customer come in, and I'm not going to mention any name, but they went to a dealer for the airbag recall.
Yeah.
And she was given a laundry list of like $4,500 of work that her car needed. We had just done the 60,000 mile service. So we had just changed the coolant and the trans fluid and the brake fluid, power steering fluid. We had done a complete inspection on the car. And they were recommending control arms, ball joints, timing cover reseal.
Ball joints?
And so she called me. Luckily, she didn't just do it. She called me and she said, hey, what is going on here? And I said, just leave. And I'm going to bring your car back and I'll do a free inspection for you. I want to look at it. And it didn't need any of it. I mean, it really pissed me off. And so be careful when you're going in for an airbag recall or something like that they're doing for free. They're doing as a part of a recall warranty, and that they're trying to get a bunch of other work out of you that, I mean, there's plenty of valid things to do on cars that people don't, dishonest shops don't need to sell things that don't need to get done. In this case, a dealership. So
I want to say something about ball joints. The ball joints now are regulated to the point that if they tell you that you need a ball joints, they have to measure the play that's in those ball joints. They have to put down the manufacturer specification for that ball joint and how loose that ball joint is.
It's one of the most over-recommended
yes.
things, yeah.
That and shock absorbers in many cases.
Yeah.
But
ball joints are misunderstood, like you talked about, because they can have some play in them.
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Some of them can.
Let's talk to Jeff from SLO. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, good morning.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, may I ask my question now?
Please.
Okay. I'm going to ask my question, then I'm going to hang up afterwards so I can continue driving.
Okay, good.
I have a 2007 Toyota Prius, which I purchased brand new at that time. And now, 11 years later, it's been working flawlessly. I'm under the impression that the Prius is the gold standard for hybrid sedans.
I agree.
Up to today.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I think I've come to the point where I'd like to upgrade to something bigger by Toyota and something higher. So I'm talking mini SUV to maybe SUV. So I'm thinking of the Toyota RAV4 hybrid or the Toyota Highlander hybrid. So my questions to you guys are, what are your thoughts in comparing those three models, the Prius, the Highlander, and the RAV4 in hybrid versions only? And also, what are your thoughts about buying second-hand instead of brand new? Because brand new prices now are just so high. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to hang up now and listen to the show.
Okay, Jeff. Thanks for your call. Good questions. Well, so number one, you're talking Toyota, and I think everybody knows my opinion on Toyota. It's the best car in the world. So I think you're not going to go wrong no matter what with any of those models. But I will say that the Prius is the gold standard in hybrid. And so as far as gas mileage and reliability, you're probably not going to do any better than the Prius. So you're going to go to a bigger car, which is not going to get as good a fuel economy, and you're going to go to a newer car, which is going to be a little more complicated. But I still think you're not going to go wrong with any of them. And now you're going from a Prius to a RAV4 is a little bigger, and then from a RAV4 to a Highlander is even bigger. So once again, you're going to have more weight, and your fuel economy is going to go down. But I still think your reliability and everything else is going to be great. And then as far as buying a used car versus a new car, I think we've talked about it on the show too.
Yeah. Well, I happened to go by a Ford dealership the other day, and they had a used C-Max in there, which was a couple of 2-3 years old, and it was almost about half price. Well, I paid for it and so forth.
It's a great deal.
Yeah, and the thing is, I would say about the C-Max is that's probably the easiest car I ever had to get in and out of. I mean, I just slide in. The seat is about my height, and I just slide in and slide out. I don't knock my knees. The steering wheel is not in the way. I mean, something that if you get in and out of a car a lot, that's good.
Jim?
Yes, actually a friend of mine, his kid has a 2007 Prius, and he keeps talking to me about it.
Bragging about it?
He loves it, this kid. And
Great,
I'm kind of like Uncle Jim, actually. So, anyway, I was there the other day visiting him, and he said, "Do you want to take a ride in my 2007 Prius?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to take a ride." So I got in it. The car it's in good shape. It's in good shape, but the odometer was 299,000 miles.
Wow.
And it wasn't even actually running. And the odometer.
Yeah.
Because that just before it stops, I think. But the car runs like a top.
Yeah.
It just runs. I love the car.
Yeah. Very few cars would hit 300,000 miles and be like that.
Yeah, no, the thing's in good shape. I mean, he's in his mid-20s, but the paint's in good shape. The interior's in good shape. The car runs great.
Yeah.
I couldn't feel anything wrong with it. I drove from Avila Beach to Rio Grande with him back.
If you're still listening, Jeff, we are still endorsing the Prius.
Yeah, the Prius is amazing.
The RAV4 is great. The Highlander's great. Buying a 3-year-old car with 30,000 miles on it is our formula, or 30 to 50,000. You're going to get it. You might get it for almost half, or at least like 10 grand off of what you'd pay for new. So I think it's all good. Yeah. Everything that Jeff is talking about is good, and it's just a matter of personal preference and the size of the car and all of that. So more power to you. I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, but it's when he said 2007 Prius, I thought that's the same model year. This car is like I said, it's running like a top still.
Mm-hmm. Does he got the same battery in it?
I don't know about that.
The same hybrid battery.
Yeah.
So, by the way, those of you that have hybrids, one rule of thumb is to replace that 12-volt battery every 5 years, no matter what, because it'll take down the hybrid battery. It'll take its toll on it.
I don't know that.
So you have a 12-volt battery, and which is just under $200 or in the neighborhood of $200. Versus, and then you got the expensive hybrid battery. So every 5 years, replace that 12-volt battery in a hybrid car. It's going to make your hybrid battery last longer. So good rule of thumb for that. Have we done our second break?
No, we haven't.
We have not.
Well, then we shall.
Okay.
So we are the Motor Mouse. We're Matt and Jeff. We're here till 9 a.m. to talk with you about your car. The way that works is you call us at 543-8830. We'd love to hear from you.
And we got a classic commercial here for Shell. And the singer in this is a very well-known singer, especially for one of his Christmas songs. So I'm going to let you kind of figure out who this person is, but maybe we'll play something by him when we come back. Well, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, when we come back, maybe we'll try to find something by him.
Okay.
I'm going well, I'm going Shell.
Good heavens, I know that voice.
I'm going well on Shell, Shell, Shell.
It's Bing Crosby.
Britain is great, well, let's see it in state. You can be sure of Shell. In the Emerald Isle, you drive with a smile. Nothing but fun on Shell, Shell, Shell. Ah, you can be sure of Shell. On the old heather track, well, hi, Mac, I'm doing well on Shell, Shell, Shell. I'm going well on Shell. Now it's the end of the trip, and it's back to the ship. What a wonderful time on Shell, Shell, Shell. That's another road film over. Oh, you can be sure of Shell.
Thanks, Bing.
It's a pleasure, Mr. Shell. Keep going well, keep going Shell. You can be sure of Shell.
When it's time to service your car,
Or a warning light is starting to glow.
go see the pros at Absolute Auto.
At the corner of Sacramento and Capitolio.
Having a problem with the brakes or the steering down below?
Or an alignment to adjust the tow.
Computer systems, they do know.
Call 543-8737 to reach Absolute Auto.
Your car's fuel economy was never better than when it was new. But time and miles have robbed your car of its MPG and performance. Service managers recommend BG44K to remove carbon and restore mileage in just one tank of fuel. In fact, dealerships nationwide use BG44K almost 3-to-1 over any other product. To find a shop with BG products, go to bgfindashop.com.
BG. Can you imagine selling your car next week and saying to the buyer, hey, don't worry, because the engine is covered against failure for life. It's called the Lifetime Protection Plan for the Engine from BG Products. Now imagine having this huge benefit free with your next oil service when you remember these two letters, BG. BGMOA is available at over 20,000 shops nationwide. Find yours at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com.
Hi, this is Jeff Spevack, Motormouth co-host and owner of Continental Motor Works. What can you expect here at Continental? We will treat you and your car with care and respect and gratitude. We will bend over backwards to earn your trust. You will fully understand what we are doing on your car and know how much it will cost before we do the work. You will always get value, a fair exchange. You work hard for your money. We believe we should work smarter and harder for what you pay us for. Now in our 36th year, we fix it all. Cars, trucks, SUVs, and hybrids.
Call Jeff at Continental Motor Works at 541-1464. Mention this ad and receive 10% off labor.
Of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to
Okay, we
Kind of
came
the
in.
wrong time of the year for the song.
Well, but it was big. Yeah.
But it was big, right?
Yeah. There you go.
There you are.
and children listen.
Hey, we're the Motor Mouse. We're Matt and Jeff. We're here for another 11 minutes. We can take your calls at 543-8830. Love to hear from you. We've had Matt from Avila call in, Ken from Morro Bay, Jeff from SLO. And, this show is really a lot more fun for us when you call us. So 543-8830. We're talking about, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Matt has a 2016 Sprinter. He wanted to know whether he needs to use the factory recommended engine oil. And we said yes. Ken from Morro Bay has a 2015 Honda CRV. He's wondering about what he really needs to do at 30,000 miles for service. And Jeff from SLO is thinking about moving on from his Prius to a RAV4 or a Highlander, and we say, yeah, good idea. Maybe. So let's talk to Bob from AG. Hi, Bob.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
I'm doing well, and I was listening to the caller inquiring about a Prius and his fondness for Toyotas, and I share that same fondness. It sort of happened to me recently, but the Prius, I don't own a Prius, but the ubiquitous one, the one we see, is now accompanied by two others. There's a little one, and then there's a larger one. The C is a subcompact, and then there's a midsize they refer to as the V. It looks like it's a little kind of bloated at the end, and it's what is the small?
There's a Prius C, there's a Prius V, and there's a Prius Z. Is that what you're saying?
There's a Prius V, like Victor.
Victor, yes, and that's the bigger one. Okay.
Yeah, that's considered a midsize.
Yeah, it's almost like what they might call a crossover. Yeah. I think Toyota is responding to people that wanted the Prius but felt like it was a little too small.
Yeah, but it's also the he was considering two crossovers, the Highlander and the
RAV4.
The RAV4 is a compact.
Yeah.
So this one is actually bigger. The V is bigger stature-wise than the one that you just mentioned.
Okay.
But it depends on what you like to drive. But all three of those are sensational cars.
That's a good point. So, Jeff, if you're still listening, you could consider the Prius V like in Victor, which is a bigger Prius. And I don't know what the interior room size. It'd be interesting to compare. You know, sometimes you have more room in a smaller car than you do in a bigger car. I mean, Matt really knows about that because he's how tall are you? 6'6". And so you talk about being able to fit into some cars like your C-Max, which isn't a big car.
No, it's a very small car.
Yeah.
The head doesn't hit, and you know. No, I think that is very well built, and it's built. That C-Max is the same as it's another Ford. Which is not a hybrid, and so it's a very popular car.
Yeah, Bob, what else would you like to say about what kind of Toyota do you have?
I have a Corolla. I have actually two of them. One was acquired later. It was I have a 05 and a 16.
So you know what I love about the Corolla? You know that a car manufacturer is doing something right when they keep the same name that they had in the 60s. So in other words, I believe Toyota made a Corolla in the 60s. I think that's when it started. And how many manufacturers have the same model?
Yeah, that's
for
the point.
60 years.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be a good car.
Right. Yeah. They keep on changing these things.
Yeah, and that's one of the standard great economy cars is the Corolla.
I would like to get a license plate frame that reads, "I don't mind driving an appliance."
It's very functional. It's very economical. And it lasts forever.
Yeah, there's some good competitors out there, but so far I think it's hanging on.
Yeah, in that class, I like the Corolla. I like the Honda Civic. I like the Mazda 3. Those actually would be my favorite three cars in the subcontact like that. I know there's other ones that people like, but the first Corolla was introduced in November of 1966.
That was a Corolla or a Corona?
Corolla.
Was it?
Yeah, they had the Corona at the same time, but the Corona was the step up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do they make the Corona anymore?
No, the Corona went down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not as successful of a model. Even though they were good, they had the 6-cylinder in it, and they didn't do as well.
Yeah, they're all rear-wheel drive back then too.
Yeah. Well, great, Bob. Thank you. Anything else you'd like to talk about or ask?
That'll do it. You guys are about ready to wrap up, so
I'll appreciate your call and your comments. Thank you very much.
Next week.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
All right. Well, we have a real Toyota theme going on today.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, there's a lot of other good cars out there.
You like to talk about the best.
I have a Nissan. You have a Ford.
Yeah. Right.
You also have a Toyota.
Yes.
And you also have a Chevy pickup.
No, GMC.
GMC. Okay. Well, yeah. So. Jim drives a
Dodge Magnum.
Dodge. Yeah.
Dodge Magnum. It's a great car.
Yeah. That's been a great car for you.
Yeah, they only made those particular cars for a couple of years, but I love the car.
Yep.
I mean,
a lot of great cars out there. When Matt and I always talk about how long cars used to last when we first started working on them.
Oh yeah.
You could go back to the really early days of cars where you had to do an engine job at 50,000 miles, right?
Oh, sure, valve jobs. I mean, Chevrolet, my dad had a 49 Chevrolet, and he got about 30,000 miles on it. He had to do a valve job.
And that's unheard of now.
Yeah,
that's completely unheard of. And now, most people think, oh, my car's going to go to 200,000 miles. Well, it will if you do proper maintenance and care of it. But yes, it will. But it'll go for a long time without anything if you want it to. Of course, it won't last too much longer if you don't do anything. But cars, I mean, with the computer control, the emission controls, the advances in engine and oils and safety, and they really are modern miracles. I mean, they really are. It's pretty amazing how well cars do, and how long they last without doing all the things we used to have to do.
Yeah, right. Hey, I found out something. This is a very short commercial. That there's a shortage of mechanics. That I've heard of a number of shops now that needs mechanics. So if you have a young man that wants to get into the automotive,
it is a great, it's a great trade where there's a lot of, you see a lot of kids graduating from college and they don't get a job.
Yeah.
Well, if you go train in auto mechanics and learn how to do it, you'll get a job.
Absolutely.
and a great career for a long time.
Right.
Yes. And you can go to Cuesta College, you can go to Hancock College, and they have training programs for both. I guess we need to close down the show by, of course, thanking Matt and Ken and Jeff and Bob for calling, making it interesting. We want to thank our sponsors, BG Products, longtime sponsor of the Motor Mouth Show, featuring, you can look them up at bgfindashop.com, and such products as 44K fuel, an induction system cleaner, and really superior synthetic transmission fluids and gear oils for your drivetrain. Absolute Auto. Go see Jason in Charlotte at the corner of Capitolio and Sacramento, featuring locally owned and family-owned superior automotive service and care and alignments. They have an alignment machine that can handle your bigger vehicles also. So go see them. Continental Motor Works, we're at 1101 Laurel Lane. You can reach us at 541-1464. Our hours are 7:30 to 5:30, Monday through Friday. And Bike Slow County, advocating for safe transportation and the future of a clean county. Hey, we want to thank everybody for calling and listening. Be safe out there. Don't forget to leave early. That's the safest way you can drive. And write your Motor Mouth questions down for next week, because Matt and Jeff will be back. Thank you.